Hello, as before, this project is still kicking my butt. Let's just say thanks to outside forces, I'm not getting anywhere near as much as I want done. That shouldn't get me in too much trouble. Since the last video, my wife has bought a 3D printer, so that's been interesting and kind of exciting. There's a few things we're getting done with that, which is, well, as I said, interesting. One thing that I need to print out is some more painters' pyramids. Used to be able to get them, I'm sure, at Bunnings, but they don't sell them anymore. No one in Australia seems to sell them. And occasionally, like now, I have use for a whole bunch of painters' pyramids. So what I'm doing now is pre-finishing or finishing before glue up the MDF veneered panels. So this is the Tasmanian blue gum, plantation oak, and I'm going to be using Poly-X. If you haven't caught Kuffy's series on building a baby cot, I always struggle with the word cot. Baby bed sleeping apparatus doesn't quite sound right. Anyway, he used Poly-X for the first time for him and was not a fan. It turns out you can't be right all the time, and Kuffy is discovering that he's wrong in this case. As far as I know, he was happy enough with the finished product, but the application process was no good for him. And that's fine. It's fine. One of the big problems with Osmo is they're awful as a company at providing information. I'm sure they're lovely people, just information is terrible. If you go to all the distributors around the world of Osmo products, they all have slightly different instructions. So first off, Poly-X is not a polyurethane. It is a hard wax oil, very unlike polyurethane. So it doesn't contain any of those type of resins that you'd normally associate with polyurethane. Some people will say, oh, it's sort of like Danish oil. It gives you that sort of close to the wood finish. There's no huge film, so in that regard, yes. And I have covered it before, but I don't know if I've necessarily covered the application process in detail, the pros and cons of the finish. So perhaps that's something like the WTF is Tas Oak type video that I should do. Let me know if you're interested. Long and short of it version though is that Kuffy probably put on too much product and didn't work it in enough. Now, yes, he did wipe it around, but it's a really weird product. You really have to push it into the surface. Flip side is it has very low VOC. It's not zero, but it is very low. It's pretty hard wearing, not as hard as polyurethane, but you can just wipe it on, another coat on. 6 months down the track, you don't have to sand or anything like that, and it works. There's a bunch of different ways to apply it. As you can see, I'm using a roller. So I put some on and then I wipe most of it off in the pan before applying pressure. This is a 5mm nap microfiber roller, which works great. And as you can see, that it's really popping. One of the good things over water-based products is that it does give you that chatoyance, that rich depth that you get from oil finishes. It doesn't smell anywhere near as bad, even though you do need terps to clean it up. After its curing time, which is about 7 to 12 days, depending on the climate, excuse me, it becomes hydrophobic. So water will pool up on it rather than sort of running off it. And I've shown this off on my coffee table video a while back, and it makes a massive difference once it's fully cured. And because it has a high wax content to it, or component to it, it has a really nice soft touch. Yeah, so I guess if you are interested, let me know and I can do a video specifically on this one product. I love it. The only time I use other finishes is when it's outdoor finish. Osmo do make an outdoor one, but no one was open, so I couldn't buy it at the time. or shop projects where I'm just using up the polyurethane I've got, because this stuff is a little bit more expensive, but is a much better finish.